a happy birthday. And there's a funny thing about that normally most years I really just don't give a shit about my birthday, because it has to do with the way that my autism processes things. That holidays, annual holidays and stuff just always seem like a totally arbitrary, nonsensical kind of thing that serves no purpose other than to create anxiety. So I just ignore my birthday every year. But this year there's something going on. Something different is going on with this year. I'm not positive what it is. I'm talking, cosmic sense, whatever. For some reason, it seems to be timed up to. I'm going to let this vehicle go by here. So I'm camped out here in Williams, Arizona today. See the really nice blue skies, and then over here, threatening terrain because it's now monsoon season in Arizona. If you live in the West, you know what that's all about. Basically what that means is that pretty regularly every day in the afternoon at some point you'll get rain every day, and technically monsoon means that for a certain season the humidity level goes from being like your arid western climate to suddenly you have like 40-60% humidity, well, like the rest of the country, really. And I don't like it. I like the dry weather. I don't like humidity at all. But anyway, what was I talking about before we got diverted by that vehicle there? So yeah, thanks for wishing me happy birthday. Basically, that's it. This year's different. Something's different's going on. This timing is, it happens to be time that right now my life is headed in a different direction than it has at any time in the past. A bunch of things are like coming together at the same time and have been. And building this camper was a big part of that whole realization that this is the time that stuff is going to happen, though I wasn't totally conscious of everything at the same time. But at the same time, everything was coming together. So, I was kind of aware. Now, I was aware that I was building this for a certain reason. But the timing of that was like, this is the thing about building. And then I'll go closer and show you a little bit more what we got. And there's going to be a bigger tour of this, for, my camper build fans. That's basically how, like if you don't know me as Mobile Rik, that's how I have been supporting myself for the past couple years now. How long have I been doing this? 5 years, since 2014. Spring 2014 is when I did this. Inside's not done at all. It's just stuff thrown in here for the most part. But there's a lot more space than there was the last time. A few of you might have seen this and know that there wasn't much space at all. There was hardly any floor space at all. And now I have this space here where I can sit on my yoga mat there, my zafu, and as well as just use this for the purposes that it's going to be used for, and I'll get into that shortly. I'm going to need to switch my hands, my arm's getting tired. So the last time a lot of you might have seen me post at all, I'm getting a rain alert. And these clouds are getting a little closer. Let's see if I can finish this. I didn't intend for this to be very long anyway. So a lot of you might know, might remember the last post that I did on Instagram and Facebook too. One of the last posts was that my camper, I'd thrown my camper into the trash at the dump. And the plan at that point was to I was going to just rebuild my camper, and I thought it would take like a week. And that was my timing because my wife was going to be visiting in, I think, about 10 days from the point that I threw my camper away. And the idea is that I was going to, I could probably build a camper in a week. And if I don't finish, then while Mia will be here, then she'll be able to help me finish it. At least to make it campable within, during the time that she's here. I'm going to need to close this door here because it's slamming. So I think I got the framing done during the first couple days that she was here, and then there was a whole bunch of other layers, and then it became there was no way I was going to be getting done, so we just had to sort of tent camp the last day. Last couple of days, can't even remember how that went. It was such a long time ago because I was supposed to finish it she visited in March. And you might ask, why did I think I could finish a camper in 2 days? Because my last camper, the one that I advertise my camper plans on, I built that thing in 3 days. I built my camper in 3 days for $300. That's the line I use when I sell my camper plans. So I thought, well, this is more complicated. I could probably build it in, like, 2 weeks at most. And it just didn't turn out that way. It was one of those kind of things that this was sufficiently more complicated because of what I was trying to do. It's bigger, it's wider, and it's got all these aerodynamic things going on, which I insisted on because I have this aerodynamics background, and there's no way that I was going to allow myself to be driving around and getting terrible fuel efficiency the way that most RVs and campers do. So, yeah, I just did all this complicated stuff, also because I wanted to reuse the roof that I had already built a couple years ago, and so it required me to, like, change the shape. You can see that maybe that it's slanted up there is because I had a 5-foot wide roof, but I was making my camper 7 feet wide. And I made the whole thing very complicated, and I had all these layers. There's a bunch of layers of foam. Like, just in my head, it seemed like, well, this is going to be really easy and cheap, and it just didn't work out that way. It was the kind of thing where I'd work on it for like, or I would just have it in my head from experience. Well, this should take about an hour, but because it's a little bit more complicated, there was all these things that I didn't anticipate. So like an hour would turn into like 3 days, and like if it turned into 3 days, it was usually something like where I can't work on this one thing because I don't have money for this part, and then I would have to wait until I was able to work again, and then it would just like turn into this thing. So like there was a point where I just like, I'm not going to work on it for like a week or two, and it's raining now, but that's all right. It's cooling down. It was really hot. Let me flip around again. Does that work? No, I have to do it this way. All right, so there we go. So let's see, where are we at here? It was supposed to take 2 weeks, took 5 months. 5 months of hell. Hell because I wanted to get this damn thing done so I could move on with all the stuff, all the plans that I'd made for, the rest of my life. So like, there's big ideas of what I'm going to do in this camper now, that I have all this room, so I'll get to that in a moment, and I wanted to get to it, but I couldn't, because this is my home and I didn't have one. I was staying at a friend's house, but I don't want to do that. I wanted to be camping and pursuing my lifestyle the way that I do, and the project kept going on and on and on and on. I'd be thinking, like, I've been in the last final phase now for probably 3 months, when I started saying, all right, I'm on the last phase now. And then, like, it would just take me a week, and then that week would get expanded into 2 weeks, and then, like, I'd be on like the last day of that plan, and then that last day would expand into a month, and it would just keep going on, and it was just one of the most depressing 5 months of my entire life. But now, at least I can camp in it. It's not done. The outside's not done. The inside's definitely not done, but at least it's getting close. But I'm really, I can't even say, like, I'm really shy now about saying that I think I can get this done in about a week. Because I've been saying that to people too. It's like, once I got camping and it says, right, I'm camping now, it's almost done. It's going to take about another week to get the rest of it done. But it hasn't. It's already been 3 weeks since I said that. So I basically decided I got to start proceeding. Now that I can camp in it, I'm just going to say, fuck this. Even though I know what usually happens is, once I like just say I'm not going to work on this right now and then start something else, it's really hard to get back to it. And then I'll just like my last camper, like, I wouldn't maintain it for like months and years and stuff. And I don't want that to happen with this one, but I got to move on with my life. because there's stuff that I got to do. So let's, after switching hands, what am I going to be doing? This plan has been coming together for a while now. Like I've had all these projects, lots of little ventures that I've started in the past, trying to find ways to support myself. And like I said, I've been supporting myself. I'm going to stand under a tree. I've been supporting myself by selling plans for how to build your own camper. So I still have that, and it's not a very lucrative business at all. It's just I'm essentially selling to wannabe homeless people, and a lot of them are like old retired RV types of people. So, you know, doing internet business with people who don't know how to use the internet, honestly, that's a good part of who my audience is. So, and I went into it knowing that this is not going to be very lucrative, but if I can bring in like $200 to $300 a month, that'll be good. And it turned out that I was so good at my marketing that I was able to max out at $200 to $300 a month, and I kept learning and learning and learning over the next couple of years, and I never improved that at all. I switched over to like selling my books on Amazon, and that was good, but then my website sales dipped down. So it was like I totally saturated a market. I'm like, I'm really good at internet marketing. It's just that there was no, I started out in a market that has no customers, and the customers don't have any money and are really cheap. They're into doing things yourself rather than buying things, and that's how I am. So, you know, how can I complain about that? Because that's exactly how I am. I found customers who are exactly like myself. But anyway, I've been wanting to move into other things, but those of you who've watched some of my posts and stuff on probably Facebook, because it's probably the only place I've posted things of this nature, leaving long comments about things, you know, weird topics and spirituality and just weird stuff. I enjoy when my friends are talking about weird stuff. I jump in there with my long comments, and you know, I feel like I got a lot to share. Like I've always known that. I just haven't really known how to go about doing that. Because, you know, once you start doing that, you start getting a bunch of trolls and stuff, right? Everybody wants to come in there and share their stupid opinions. But then again, you know, another example of like getting the experience I need to do in order to later do the thing that I'm meant to do. Like everybody, most of the people on my Facebook right now are vegans. So we all have a lot of experience in dealing with trolls, right? So that has become part of my experience for the next phase when I start talking about just this weird spiritual stuff. Astrology is probably the most trolled topic ever. And there's something about my karma as well, that I have a certain background. Like I actually went to MIT, and I have all that background that went into, I was an engineering major for just one term, and then I got into philosophy and psychology and other stuff. But no matter what you do, you got to have all the math and the science, even just to get in there in the first place. But then you're still required to take some really advanced math and science stuff. So I have all that stuff, and at the same time, that it became part of my karma. The stuff that's in my head, the voices that are in my head when I think about new agey weirdness is. I got all these troll voices in my head telling me how ridiculous it sounds. So in the process, I've developed this really balanced way of looking at everything. My brain never lets me go out and just be totally weird without having some balances, like this is how it appears from the other side. So I've developed in the process a way of explaining things in sort of engineering terms, in a sense. I haven't gotten quite there because the things are really far apart, but I can still talk to people. I have confidence to talk to people in terms that are a bit more conventionally Western science based, I guess, and able to recognize complete nonsense when I see it from both sides. You know, that's not a you know, in a balanced way. That's not just the knee-jerk reaction of everybody who, just because you're saying something they've never heard before, then they have to troll you. So I can see both sides, and I can communicate both sides. And still, through veganism, I've learned that you know, a lot of those people you just have to ignore. People are built up, are raised a certain way of thinking, and they're not ready to move beyond that. So you know, you wind up blocking a lot of people and ignoring them and so forth. So I've been well trained for that next part of the mission. So there's that, and then the other major thing is music, and that's another thing that's been coming together over the past year, just literally a year. Yeah, wow, almost to the day, yeah, so like in June of last year, now it's the end of July, but in June of last year, I visited me in England, and I had bought her a guitar, and I suddenly just like picked up a guitar and just started playing it for fun. And then that turned into me just like practicing all the time. Like up at that point, I consider myself, I was sort of like mid-level intermediate. I was all right. I had a lot of experience. I also had a lot of experience in recording. So I was a much better recording engineer than a musician at that point. But I started practicing and started getting better really fast. And then when I came back from there, yeah, it was like I was practicing for, this is what I always say, it was like I was practicing for a gig that I didn't have. Like some reason, every day I just had to practice and practice and practice. And I didn't have any idea why I was doing it. I was enjoying it. But it like felt like I was doing it for a purpose. Like I had to get better in a hurry. And I wasn't sure why. And what happened is that I landed back in Denver and started driving around and camping. And along my drive, songs just started to drop out of the sky, literally. Can you say literally for something like that? A song is like a mental thing. So mental things can sort of drop out of the sky, but is it actually in the sky? I don't know. This is the kind of weird stuff that I think about, and so I'll be making lots of videos with like weird talk like that. So if that sounded cool, then you definitely will be a fan of my weird thoughts. But anyway. Songs semi-literally started falling out of the sky, and then I met up with a group of people who were saying the same things. Like they were also musicians and were having stuff fall out of the sky. And I was having some weird things like participated in a drum circle, and then it felt like we were all starting a band because we were just, everything was just all so tight. I started having all these synchronicities, things that were telling me that you're about to start your music career and you need to learn how to do this and this and this and this. So I bought my current guitar, my acoustic, just a few days after my birthday last year. And probably was like the day after my birthday, I think, or was it that? A couple of days after, because I went in the day after my birthday to the music shop and started playing around. And that was a funny thing too, because it was the first time in my life that I actually felt confident enough to play guitar in the music store. You know, I don't know if you're a musician and you have that anxiety going to a music store, and then everybody's, you know, so good when they pick up the instruments, and then you just feel like you suck. So, you know, you don't play any of the instruments. You look at them and then leave. But I actually, you know, I was feeling confident because I'd practiced so much, and I actually had some songs that I wanted to work on. So I picked up guitar and I sat in there and practiced my songs on the guitar until I found the one that I wanted. And I love the sound of it. It's awesome. Great sounding guitar. And for a good price too. And you'll be seeing a lot more of that if you want to follow my music. But anyway, all that stuff started happening. And then as I was camping with friends and practicing guitar, it just started getting better and better and better. And I feel pretty confident on guitar, and I developed my own style, and that was also part of my ego thing. Like, you know, I don't want to like call myself a musician if I can't even like do my own thing, if all I can do is like play other people's stuff, and I'm not even very good at that. But I got my own thing now. I got my own singing style, and I got my own songs, just a handful, really, 2 handfuls, I suppose. So I'm right about ready. As soon as I get this thing situated inside, I'm going to start gradually recording and releasing stuff in a smart way that I think is a smart way. I've been doing lots of training on how to launch a music career in the new music business, which is mainly online. So not talking about record labels and stuff like that, like you can be an independent musician and launch yourself online, doing nothing but online stuff, not even gigging or anything. And like, that's one of my hugest anxieties, just part of my autism. Just like, I stop at the point where like, I'm not going to be recording, like I'm not going to be performing for people, and I might in the future, but at least now I know that in the current music climate, you don't have to. You could totally just start releasing stuff, and I have so much experience in just releasing stuff as products, information products. So I know that it's completely possible to make songs and record them and offer them for sales, and using the ability to find your fans, be very precise about who your fans are, and find them on the internet. So I'm very confident that's going to work, and I'm really excited to start doing that. And you know, the same excitement that I've had for a couple months now that has made it such hell to still be like struggling with this camper. But thankfully I'm to the point where I'm just about ready to do it. I pulled out the guitar today for the first time in months, and I suck again, but you know, I can still remember how to play my songs. So just have to practice a bit more. So in the future, I'm going to be doing a lot more live videos. This was sort of a practice. You know, I've still never uploaded or worked with that thing. Oh, and by the way, this is pre-recorded. It's because of my lifestyle. I can't be out here in the wilderness talking about my camper and uploading it live. Like, I don't have internet out here. So I'm going to be using other services to record my live stream and post them. And that's the only way it's going to work in my lifestyle. And another example of just how great it is that technology is what it is now, that you can do that kind of thing. So music, and then lots of podcasty style videos that I'll just be releasing weekly, probably more than a week in the beginning, just to build like, you know, get stuff that I can upload on YouTube so people can find me and see that I actually got other stuff, not just one video, you know. So I'll be releasing stuff pretty quickly in the beginning. I kind of have already planned out what kind of topics I want to cover. But and then there will be as I do more of these and I start get ready to, like, now I'm in the phase where I'm going to start doing videos about this kind of thing, and then I might like ask, you know, what kind of topics do you want me to cover, and yeah, because it's going to be an ongoing thing. I'm basically going to create a career, a self-supporting, sustainable career as an internet personality. Not something I thought that I would say. It's a weird thing given my personality and my sort of dislike, love-hate relationship with social media, and I'm sure a lot of you understand. But I've had a lot of practice in managing, you know, anxiety for how do you do that on social media with just so many random people. They're, you know, gonna have to use, you know, my internal filters, and as well as the software filters too. I'm gonna start filtering my Facebook comments and stuff and my YouTube comments. I only just figured out how to do that, and it's amazing how much confidence you get when you figure out, oh, I could filter out those stupid ass comments. So those, and then, you know, setting up my my energetic shields and whatnot. So yeah, lots of stuff about magic coming up, and energy work, astrology. I don't remember all my topics. Cymatics. I'm going to start doing cymatics. I'm really excited to start doing that. If you don't know what it is, it's you'll see it. You'll see it. That appeals to my engineering side. It has a lot to do, fits right in with my background in acoustics, and I know I can make a lot of contributions in that field, and make some pretty designs as well. And I'm just really interested in studying it. So that's what we got going on over the past couple months, and I will need some help. I probably don't need help. I know how to do it without help, but the thing is, I have so much. I got close to 5,000 friends on Facebook here, and I know a lot of you, you know, comment on my posts and you know, leave lots of hearts on my stuff. So even though I don't know you personally, I have a good bet that you're interested in the stuff that I'm going to have coming out. So if that sounds exciting to you and you would like to help out my efforts, which is basically my new life mission now. Oh my God, I didn't even talk about that whole topic. Let me come back to that, because you know, there's a big mission that there's not only just like I have a thing that I got to do, but there's like a motivation that I need to. It's like my wife lives in England, and like we've just been like visiting for weeks at a time for a couple years now, and probably for the next year it's going to continue that way. And you know, we can't keep doing that. I need to have a sustainable way to make a living. And what I'm aiming for is the thing is, immigration sets it up in kind of a complicated way, but so you kind of gotta read up on all the really specific things for, like, you know, where your citizenship is, and like what you're trying to do, what you're accomplished, what your relationship is, and stuff like that. We're married, but we have an issue that a lot of just married couples don't have when they try to bring their spouse over, is that like what you need to do is you need to be able to sponsor somebody who comes over from overseas to live, because governments don't want foreigners coming in and just like setting up shop and then becoming poor and then starting to need public services and stuff like that. So they set it up so, like, the standard procedure is that you need to be able to sponsor them. That means that you need to have a certain amount of income, usually in the area of like $20,000 to $24,000. I think it's like $24,000 to $27,000 in the U.S. That's how much that I would need to make a year in order to officially sponsor me to live with me here. Even in this ridiculous situation that I have where I don't actually need that much to survive. I've been surviving on $200 to $300 a month for the past 5 years. I occasionally get a little more than that. I had an inheritance at some point last year that I was able to use to fly to England and get married and do all that kind of stuff. But you know, we're back to the beginning, and no matter what the case, unless I have a solid income, so we're probably talking $2,000 a month, I'm not going to be able to sponsor her ever. But I have a lot of hope now with all this stuff that I have going on, and just all the signs that seem to be pointing in the same direction. I think that everything's lined up for right now. I would be able to set it up towards, even though it seems really ambitious to go from $200 a month to $2,000 a month, selling music and doing YouTube videos. No, I know that it's doable. It's just a question of whether my karma is lined up for that to happen. And at the very least, all the signs seem to be pointing, at the very least, trying to do it is what I ought to do. It's just like everything else. You know, it's going to be a learning experience. You're not going to make any success out of it, but you'll learn a lot for the next phase. But it does seem like, you know, whatever I do, if I take the next step, like this is part of the next step right here, doing this video. At this particular time in the history of my life. And the signs seem to be pointing at this is a big first step in the next process that is going to start making this work. Okay, so now I will talk about what I need to get this process started. If you want to help me to create a lifestyle where I can bring my wife, me, who you know, probably know, over here to live with me in my camper. Making way more money than we actually need. The thing is, once we actually make that and get the immigration approved and stuff, then we'll be cool. We can, you know, I can give up on my business, but then what will be the point of that? But we'll have choices at that point once we get her over here and she's legal. And but we'll have money and we can do traveling, and which we do want to do. We'd love to take a van around Europe and other places. So if you would like to see all that stuff happen, and I think you would, it's a very weird thing to be to have like people are fans of our relationship. It's really weird, but I also get it. It has to do with there's a lot of things, but I do astrology, and one of the videos I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what our relationship looks like in in astrology through synastry. You take the charts and you overlay them and see all the interconnections between where the planets were on the day she was born and where the planets were on the day I was born. And you can figure out the chemistry of any relationship that way. And ours is objectively, it's objectively. That's one thing I love about relationship astrology is subjective. You just like, whether you believe any of it or not, you can't deny what happens when you stick the planets positions on the day you were born with the planet's positions on the day the other person was born. Put them together and angles will appear. Exact angles will often appear between certain planets that are regarded as well, there's a different chemical relationship between each of the planetary energies, basically, and you can read it. And even if you doubt what the reading is, you can't deny that there are certain angles being drawn between planets, and you'll have way more of a angles when you compare yourself to somebody you're really compatible with to somebody you just pass by on the street and you would like never take any notice of. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to be doing that. So yeah, I can show you. So it's really cool from that point. Like that's a mathematical perspective on objectivity, and then you can add it to like the objectivity that is there, even though it's of the subjective experience. It's like they have a lot of really good chemistry, and like you can feel that, right? You can feel when people have good chemistry, and you can just see it. So like it doesn't even, you don't even know us without even knowing us, seeing us together. It's like you see a picture of us together and you just kind of know something's going on there, and that it actually corresponds in the chart as well. So I'm looking forward to when I finally get around to all this stuff and recording different things to be able to show you all that. But yeah, if you want to, yeah, our amazing relationship to continue, yeah, you can also see in the charts where the difficulties are, where, you know, we obviously have a lot of difficulty getting together by being an ocean apart, and you can see the distance. There's things in the chart where you could just, an astrologer would interpret it as that, is there a lot of distance between you? Yeah, there's a lot. It's all over the chart. And what you got to do in terms of evolving your relationship is figure out how to reinterpret that in different ways that are compatible with that particular energy. Okay, so anyway, let's finish it up. It's starting to rain more heavily now, and I do want to get to town and do some more internet stuff. So if you would be interested in helping out this whole effort, where I'd really need help with something that you probably recognize is that the algorithms are sometimes a bit stubborn in social media. So I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff on social media, but as you know, you post something on social media, you're really excited for everybody to see it, and then nobody sees it. Nobody comments. You don't know if it was because your video was stupid, or more likely it was just that Facebook decided that your friends aren't interested in seeing that. So you also know that the way to boost the visibility is that people need to start interacting with it. So if you post something and then people instantly are, you know, clicking like and leaving comments, then more people will start to see it, right? It's tougher to get that going with videos, but you know, like if you post a selfie or something, then everybody will start clicking. So there's a bit of understanding of how the algorithm works that goes into this. And it's really starting to rain now. If you want to help me beat the algorithm, and so that I can start this whole process, that's the hardest part, is just starting it. I know everything else, but if nobody sees anything, then nothing goes anywhere. But if you want to help me get the process started, so just, you know, when I post something, you know, click the heart, leave a little comment, even if it's just, you know, an emoji or something like that. But then that will start to get more people noticing. It'll show up in other people's feeds, even people I've been friends with a long time who've never seen anything I posted. You know, you wanted to get it to the point where it starts to show up in more people's feeds. So that's what I want to get to. And so I'm going to be posting on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you're not following me on those, I'll post the links for those below this. And if you're really interested, if you're really interested and think that you want to be not just a fan, but like a helper, you want to really help me, not just casually waiting to see when my posts show up, but actually like, well, I made a mailing list. So you can, if you're really interested, then I will send you like couple times a week probably. Hey, I've just uploaded this to YouTube. It'd be great if you could go there and you know, click watch the video, or at least, you know, click the play button and let it play and go make coffee or whatever, and you know, click the like button, leave a comment, whatever it is you want to do that you know, fits your you know, your energy level and how much you feel like helping out today. If you want to help out with that effort, I'm gonna, in addition to my links, I'm going to leave a link to where you can sign up for that and get on my mailing list so that I can inform you when I post things. And I'm also, as a little incentive, I like to give an incentive. This off-roader go by. So as an incentive, if you want to, for anyone to sign up with that, and if you think you might be somebody who likes my stuff, likes my music, I'm going to give away a very early iPhone demo. Not a video, but a song that I recorded on my iPhone pretty shortly after I wrote it, probably about a year ago. I don't know, 9 months ago or something like that. So it's hardly good quality or anything, but I like the song, and I think the recording came out okay, and not too many mistakes. If you just want to hear what I sound like until, you know, if you can't wait for another couple weeks or a month or however long it is until I get around to actually doing some decent recordings and putting them out there, and eventually get around to you know, a good recording that I could put up for sale and put on, make sure it's on Spotify and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you'll get that if you sign up for that mailing list. And for anyone else, you know, just make sure you're following me on this to, you know, see when my stuff comes out. So if you're still watching this, I didn't expect it to be this long, but if you're still watching this, thanks so much. And also, again, thanks for your birthday wishes yesterday. And I've never said this in my life, but this is I think this is going to be a great year. I've never said that on my birthday ever, but this is it seems appropriate. This is going to be a really cool year. So thanks a lot.